We would not have cheddar cheese without the Caribbean and Mexico. At least not how we think about it today. The history of coloring cheese goes back to the 1500s in England. But why were people adding coloring to cheese in the first place? Marketing and making money, of course, but also maybe a little bit of fraud. High quality springtime milk from pasture raised cows had this yellowish orange sort of tint to it, and when it was made into cheese. And back in the 16th century, that kind of cheese was seen as more highly desirable because it was more flavorful. But in the 17th century, dairy farmers realized that they could skim the fat off of the top of the milk and then sell it as cream or make it into butter, and therefore make more money per gallon of milk. But by doing that, they lost the yellowish orange tint in the cheese. Plus, the color of the milk varied by seasons depending on what the cows were eating. So cheesemakers decided to fake that color by adding in ingredients like saffron or marigolds or even carrot juice. But the amount of those ingredients kind of messed with the recipe for the cheese. But it really worked to market their cheese to the city folk in London who had come to expect that high-fat, full-flavor cheese. It wasn't until the colonization of the Americas and the Caribbean that annatto, or achote, made its way to England. Achote was traditionally used for a lot of different culinary and medicinal purposes, as well as inks and dyes. Even the words that we use to talk about the ingredient are derived from its origin. Achote comes from the Aztec language, and annatto comes from the Caribbean language. Annatto has such a vibrant and bright color that cheesemakers could add just a little bit to achieve the coloring that they needed so much more of the other ingredients for. So by the 1700s, annatto was the dominant way that people were dyeing their cheeses, not just cheddars, that bright orange. And it still is.